Hello everyone, we are back again for another Dokkan battle video. So today I'm going to be discussing the Red Zone Fusion ZAMASU fight. So I made a post about 2 weeks ago, and I wanted to record this earlier than I have. But unfortunately I was sick, my throat was sore, I couldn't really speak as well as I'd like to. And, just other life things. I haven't been able to upload as much as I would have liked over these last couple of weeks, months even, at this point. So I do apologise for the lack of content. But hopefully we'll be able to get back to content creation, because that's what I enjoy doing, and I do enjoy having these chats with you guys, which is kind of what this video is. So today we're actually talking about Red Zone Fusion ZAMASU, right? This guy. So I made a community post here on YouTube. I also asked a question in Discord and on Twitter. I didn't get a response on Twitter, unfortunately, but it's fine. I have some responses here on Discord, on my Discord, which, link is here, so if you want to join it, it's also going to be in the description of this video. If you want to join it, get into some conversations, absolutely do that. Same with on YouTube. Just, follow me on Twitter, comment on YouTube. I'm always happy to respond. So, I made this post 2 weeks ago. Hey everyone, hope you are all well. I'm making a community post here, and if you respond to this, you can feature in a video coming out next week. And of course, that was 2 weeks ago, so it's coming out now, but anyways. Dokkan Twitter has once again been spiraling because of the new Dokkan Fest Andre 21, who is not good in the Red Zone Fusion ZAMASU fight. I want to hear your thoughts. Is the Fusion ZAMASU fight the most toxic fight in the game, and should it be considered when evaluating units? I'll be reading responses from here, my Twitter, and my Discord. So, I have a response here on YouTube from OmniKing2951, who is also in my Discord, so shout out to you, my king. Let's read his response, and I will also go through my thoughts on Fusion ZAMASU as well. So, OmniKing says, I feel ZAMASU is toxic because it's Omega turn 1. Now, what he means here is in terms of, AoE turn 1 damage as well, which I can pull up on this, so I might as well pull this up. I can pull up Dokkan info right here. And if I go to, where is it, events, challenge events, no thanks, I'm good. Good on all that. We scroll down here, way down here. I can pull up right here, which is the that's the Red Zone. Dismal Future Red Zone, and that's GT Red Zone. Where is it? Where is the Omega fight? It's Birth of the Shadow Dragons. Am I stupid? It should be here somewhere. Birth of the Shadow Dragons. There's the 21 fight. There's the new event, 21 Dokkan event, Red Zone. Oh, it's right here. I'm stupid. Anyways, if we jump over here, we can pull up Fusion ZAMASU stats, which I think are important, just so we can have them. And also we can pull up Omega. Now, we don't have the Omega fight on Global, but I think it is important to look at it. So, what he means is, see, Omega starts weak here, he cancels dodge, 320,000 attack is not really that much. Defense on Super, 800k is not that bad. He does disable dodge, that kind of thing. But he's talking about this guy, because he does AoEs, 3 AoEs per turn. They're both 500k AoEs, which is ridiculous. And he's 500,000 attack. And 1.4 million damage supers and all this. Fusion ZAMASU, on the other hand, over here, lowers attack. And he's a 1.25 million damage super turn 1, 0 cooldown. But he also does a 500k AoE turn 1. The difference is, Omega, you build up to this, right? Like, this guy here doesn't do AoEs. This guy does, and they can be quite scary as well. But this guy is tossing out 3 AoEs, but you have time to build there, right? This guy, you load in, and he could slot 1, turn 1 AoE you, and if you have a slot 2 unit who doesn't have any tools to defend against this, it's just going to get blasted. Like, the GT Duo is one of the best units in the game, of course, but what happens when you bring the GT Duo in there, they eat 300k. I got a normal, 250 to 350k. It's ridiculous. And that's why he's super toxic, right? Because he can just do this to 3 units, right? So you might have one slot 1 unit, like, let's say the AGL Blues who fuse into Vegito. They can put them in slot 1, they have a 50% chance to dodge, and they have guard. Because they're really built for that. But Future Gohan, for example, Carnival Future Gohan, will take 70k on that normal. Now, he does have 60% reduction, but he doesn't get the rest of it until after he attacks. Sword of Hope Trunks is physical, one of the better units for the Fusion ZAMASU fight, but what happens? Sword of Hope my Trunks is 2 dupes, and he takes 130k on the AoE before he gets to do anything. It's a lot of damage. So depending on rotations, you could just load in and and instantly die to ZAMASU. It happens all the time. And that's probably why he's toxic. So let me come back to the comment here. Because if it's Omega turn 1, which, yeah, I do agree. Now, Omega obviously fires 3 AoEs off. ZAMASU only used 1. To be fair, if ZAMASU fired off any more than 1 AoE, he would actually be impossible. You'd have to dodge or guard, because you would just die. You do too much. 1 is enough, honestly. But I also feel not every unit needs to be good, or be a god against AoE normals, which is true. Now, unfortunately, the 2 hardest fights in the game, both Omega, who we have pulled up here, and ZAMASU, are both AoE fights at the start. Well, ZAMASU at the start and Omega later on, but yeah, they are both AoE fights. As long as the units are good against other fights, like Goku Black, Red Zone Goku Black, and Red Zone Goku Black and ZAMASU, I feel it's fine. Which I agree with, that is true. Red Zone Goku Black and Red Zone Goku Black and ZAMASU are 2 very difficult fights. And I would probably have them 3rd and 4th, like, in terms of difficulty, right after Fusion ZAMASU, Omega, Goku Black ZAMASU, and then Goku Black, and then probably Sin after that. And Physical Sin is another AoE fight, but you know how it is. But yeah, I would definitely say that as long as you can compete in these hard fights, you're doing good. Now, I will say that Fusion ZAMASU and Omega, being good in those fights, I think hold more weight than Goku Black or Goku Black and ZAMASU. Like, you could crush Goku Black and ZAMASU and crush Goku Black, and I'd be like, yeah, man, they look really good. But if you're struggling against Fusion ZAMASU and Omega, that's a rough look, you know? Like, who is a unit that we could pull up here? Let me go into cards. Who's a unit who could do very well? These guys right here. The in Super Saiyans trio right here. These guys are great, by the way. Like, but I will say, they crush Goku Black, Red Zone Goku Black, and they crush Red Zone Goku Black and ZAMASU without much effort, honestly. Especially Goku Black and ZAMASU, because since these guys are in their tech. But they definitely take more damage against Fusion ZAMASU, since, you know, they do some damage reduction here. We can check that right here. Yeah, 30% damage reduction for 5 turns. That does help them, but you see all of this when attacking, you know. They can crush, like, Fusion ZAMASU and Omega, they can do very well, but they're definitely suited better to Goku Black and ZAMASU. So it doesn't really take points away from them, in their case against Fusion ZAMASU or Omega, but it would definitely give them bonus points if they could do well in there. Now, the TOP androids, the int ones on JP, who we don't have on Global, they suck for both Omega and Fusion ZAMASU. Like, they're bad. They're just not designed well enough for Goku Black or for Fusion ZAMASU and Red Zone Omega. Or not Red Zone Omega. Have I been saying that? Hopefully not. Birth of the Shadow Dragons Omega. They're not, well, like, they're not good enough. And then Goku Black and ZAMASU, they can certainly do a lot better. Now, they get caught by Goku Black, like, on a super attack, they'll die. But, you know, not having to defend themselves before they attack, since they get basically all of their defense and their damage reduction post-super is tough for them. But we'll finish off Omni King's comment here, where he says, I will say that this being a common theme is starting to make me want to scream. Understandable. Let's go back to releases real quick. Let's go over. Can I filter this by release? No. This isn't by release, is it? Oh no, wait, maybe, well, in terms of LR release it is. We can go through this and then jump down to TURs real quick. So let's see, who's good here in Fusion ZAMASU and who is not? They're good in Fusion ZAMASU and Omega, but they're not perfect for it. We don't have these 3 here on Global. Future Gohan is great in both. Like, more so probably Omega, since he has time to build up. But he is very good against physical fusions ZAMASU, obviously. Just the AoE will still hit Gohan relatively hard. Trunks, he's great in both. I think I prefer him in Fusion ZAMASU, since he's type advantage at the start. And then hopefully by the time you get to physical Fusion ZAMASU, he can stand by. He can definitely stand by against Omega, but Omega does have a very strong STR phase, which can be scary. ZAMASU is definitely better suited to Fusion ZAMASU, since he has his damage reduction straight away. That's really high. So he's great in there. Obviously I don't have the Omega fight, but him being int at the end is definitely scary when ZAMASU is at his weakest. But you probably will be able to infinite ZAMASU at that point, and you'll probably be okay. The blues are one of the best units in the game for Fusion Zamasu for sure. Not sure about Omega, but it's a longer fight, so their intro will wear off. But maybe hopefully, you'll have Vegito out at that point. So yeah, that's another big thing for them. In Super Saiyan 4, Goku is, I would say, bad for Fusion Zamasu. Like, you can definitely get it done. Like, I have a video up of him winning, but I don't like him against physical Fusion Zamasu. I don't. Because again, Zamasu is most likely to super and AoE and do most of his attack in slot 1, which is good. That's where Goku wants to be. But I don't find Goku strong enough defensively turn 1 for Fusion Zamasu, for the most part. While in Omega, he's like perfectly designed for that. Since he's second start, you can't dodge. Like, yeah. And then I'll cover some TURs as well. Probably have to go to page 3 to get to TURs, huh? Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Don't have these guys, so again, I'll just cover units we do have. Vegito is definitely better suited to Fusion Zamasu since his damage reductions last forever. He's strongest at the start, so he does tear up Fusion Zamasu. I'll probably have a video with the heroes team sweeping the red zones. I have to get that done soon. 21, definitely better designed for Omega, since she can actually transform and not be as vulnerable to AoEs, while Fusion Zamasu since she gets her dodge after attacking, Fusion Zamasu just blasts her, and it's not a good look. TAP Android, same thing. Let me go on to page 4 here. That's going we talk about here. Super Trunks isn't out yet, so I won't really mention him. Turles, I mean, Turles kind of just sucks, but like, I guess he has type advantage against Fusion Zamasu, so that's not the worst. Piccolo Jr. is a unit who's fantastic, but is weak to AoE's turn 1. Like, after one turn of Piccolo Jr. supering and building up his stats, the AoE's not going to do damage to him on turn 2. But that first turn, he's going to eat like 250k. Now, he's a villain, which helps, but it's scary for him. Goku, World Tournament Goku is one of the best units you can bring into Fusion Zamasu. And he's obviously great for Omega too. Him guarding turn 1 is very good. Zamasu does a beam super, so Goku can counter that as well. And Goku builds up defense by getting hit anyway, so it's not the worst. It doesn't really matter. Goku does well. Kale is rendered useless against Fusion Zamasu, unfortunately, since she gets, damage reduction when attacking. So, God Goku's another one of the best units you can bring into Fusion Zamasu. Already has type advantage, 60% chance to guard with 3 orbs, and then guard and guaranteed additional. The 17s cannot be used. Like, they get their defense, they get their dodge when attacking. So, yet again, you can't do anything. And I guess we'll just mention Yamcha real quick. Yamcha is very good for Fusion Zamasu and Omega, since again, dodge is very strong. But yeah, that's that comment covered. So let's move into my Discord comments. So here's my post here. Let's just quickly go over some. So again, is Fusion Zamasu the worst fight in the game, and should he be considered when evaluating units? Gotcha here says yes and no. So what stages and units should be evaluated, or should be considered when evaluating unit strength? Omega, fair, for units to build up, and Rose for units that are good off the bat, which is definitely valid. Again, if you're really good against Rose and Fusion Zamasu, Rose and regular Zamasu, I definitely think that's important. If you're good in there, you're great. But I do think that Fusion Zamasu matters. And I don't think we can just dismiss the fight. But I'll get into my reason for that in a bit. I want to see what people have to say first. So here's another one guy from my Discord. Shout out to him. So here's my take. I'd say the fight is more so too similar to the previous fight because for some reason they cannot stop making AoEs. Yeah, Dokkan loves AoEs, right? I mean, this isn't new. Red Zone Broly, like a year and a half ago, was an AoE fight because of his super attack AoE, and he cancelled dodge. So that people, I think, tend to forget how toxic Red Zone Broly is. Like, people look at him now and it's like, it's not that bad. Yeah, it's because Broly doesn't do much damage anymore. Like, he did an 800k AoE super. Like, but he also cancelled dodge. And a lot of units nowadays can just survive that, so it's not a big deal. But back in the day, this was devastating. You had to pop an item or you would die. There was very specific rotations that could live. Fusion Zamasu, there's a lot more avenues of survival. Dodge definitely being one of them, right? So let's not be ridiculous here. Anyways, but with that said, in my opinion, the problem is that the characters just aren't good enough. Yes, let's get into this. So God Goku, Majunior, World Tournament Goku are all good in there. Why? Because they're good units. True. Again, Majunior definitely struggles the most out of the three, just turn 1. But again, once Majunior gets 1 turn of build up, he's fine. Like, he's not going to take damage on another AoE turn. Like, he's good. And honestly, most of the issue is the design of a lot of the recent characters. Imagine if all these bad releases were actually good. We'd have a ton of good options for that fight. Basically, the difficulty is fine. Just switch up the boss mechanics and make the damn new characters they want you to spend money on better. True, I agree with that. We'll continue on. Or more accurately, make the new characters designed for this content that they are pushing. Yeah. More characters should be designed to handle these AoEs. I definitely agree with that. Like Android 21. If Android 21 had her dodge straight away instead of after attacking, she would be great against Fusion Zamasu. And her team would do very well in there. Her team still does well in here, but she actually holds it back, I would say. But yeah. There he is just saying that he's no problem being in the video. That's good. Yeah, Android 21 is the perfect example of this. Yes, for sure. This design is great, but in this AoE meta, she suffers, which is why I don't think she'll be good as I've found God Trio, referring to God Goku, Majunior, and World Tournament Goku. You can toss in AGL Super Saiyan 4 Vegito in there too, by the way. He is ridiculous. They keep releasing characters that aren't designed around new content, so when you go in there with the likes of double TOP androids, guess what's going to happen? Yeah, you're going to get folded, right? Again, I will actually pull up the TOP androids since they were mentioned again, and I did mention them myself, so, wait. Were they on this page, actually? I might have to skip. Were they here? No, they're just after this. Okay, hold on. Let me get up the TOP androids so we can discuss them. There they are, right here. Cool. So, basically, massively raising attack and defense, and this. When there's a Goku, or just even on the regular, 50% attack and defense. But here's the big thing. 50% attack and defense, and 35% damage reduction when performing a super. Again, Zamasu does a 500k AoE turn 1. Like, turn 1, frame 1 a lot of the time. If you load into a Fusion Zamasu run right now, more than likely, I'd say there's an 85% chance he loads up a slot 1 AoE. Like, it's ridiculous. But, yeah, it's very toxic. It does a lot. It's dumb. But, yeah, also, if the video is an hour long, hold on, let me go back here. If the video is an hour long, you will be watching the whole thing. So, thank you very much for that. But, yeah, that's kind of the view here. I'm not sure if there's any more comments. Again, here's me saying that, yeah, I'll probably schedule it on YouTube. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to upload it until today, so it's coming up today. Anyways, here's my take on Android 21, and I think I'll go over to the original comment I made, which is up here. So, is Fusion Zamasu the most toxic fight in the game right now? Yes, he is. I definitely think that is true. Turn 1, slot 1, AoE, just does too much damage. You can't do anything for the most part, unless your characters have dodge, or they have damage reduction, or they're able to handle it, or guard with high defense, right? Because guard alone is not enough. Like, you could bring Tech Gohan in there, and you could be like, oh, he'll do well in there, but the answer is probably not, since just how hard, Zamasu hits turn 1. Like, Gohan can get good defense, but not straight away. Like, who's a guard who's got good defense straight away? Orange Piccolo, right? for an example. Or Bulma, who's got guard and a bit of damage reduction straight away. Like, this is what you need to handle these kind of bosses. But he's not the most toxic fight in even the last 2 years since after Red Zone Broly. Red Zone Broly cancelled dodge, and if you load it in, you just instantly, if you didn't pop it out, you instantly died. Now, you can definitely get those rotations with Fusion Zamasu too, but there is definitely more ways to combat it, right? Also, Broly was an AoE super back in the day, so he would just super and you die. There's nothing, no counterplay, you just died. Even if your first unit got to attack first, you would still die. Fusion Zamasu, again, can be the same, but it's unlikely. Now, you could also counter that. Sorry. You could also counter that Broly, if he did survive his AoE, which again was very unlikely when he first came out, right? You know, if you did counter his AoE, or you did live his AoE, he couldn't super again for a long time because he had an 8 cooldown, right? ZAMASU like will load up an AoE every turn, like that is what he does. Now there's definitely rotations where you can make this work. You know, you take a bit of damage on turn 1, and you have the GT duo on the next turn, and then you can instantly revive, and you can do shenanigans there. Or you just have really strong turn 1 units, like the Blues, or Future Gohan's good enough in there, or World Tournament Goku, or God Goku. Like, dodge. You can at least dodge Fusion ZAMASU. There's ways of getting around his AoE. With Broly, there wasn't. You just died. He just killed you back in the day. But I think people just seem to have short memories when it comes to this. But that's just it. And should it be considered when evaluating units is the next part of my question. And I would say yes. I think Fusion ZAMASU is actually the most important fight. Now, he definitely is the most toxic. Like, this guy, he's evil. And mostly this guy. Like, this guy I don't fear as much, even though he hits way harder than this guy does. Like, this level of damage is just ridiculous. With the attack raise, with his 700k normals. Like, it's dumb, for sure. But he is the most important fight in the game. He is. Because Red Zone is the content they seem to be pushing. Red Zone is the most important. Like, we had the Birth of the Shadow Dragon stuff, which is important. Or look, we had the ZAMAX event, which is important as well. But Fusion ZAMASU and Red Zone is definitely what they've been pushing for this last 2 years. And that's perfectly fun. I like Red Zone. I like the style of Red Zone. It works for me as difficult content. We also like the Mortal Will and Divine Wrath event as well. But again, I do definitely think Red Zone is what they consider the most difficult content. Or what they focus on anyways. Because they add missions to these. Like, we seen on JP that there's, like, for the fan meetup or whatever, for the 9th anniversary, the mission was against this guy. It was against him. It wasn't against Omega. It wasn't against Red Zone Goku Black and ZAMASU. It wasn't against Red Zone Goku Black. It wasn't against anyone else. Or any Divine Will and Mortal Rat boss. It was this guy. Like, he's the most important. So, units who are good in here matters. And I think that's why he has to be considered, right? Now, of course, you could say just pop items, and that's fine. If you play with items, that's perfectly valid. Like, I'd like to play without items, personally, because I find it more challenging. Because I like the extra challenge. Because ZAMASU isn't that toxic if you just pop a Whis, like turn 1. If you pop a Whis, this guy's not so bad. Or like back in the day with Broly. Broly's not so hard Broly actually was very hard, even with a double Whis back in the day. Because you'd live, and then you get to AoE, or AGL Broly, and you double super, so. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Broly was just worse than Fusion ZAMASU is. You know? Because if you could build up against this guy, then this guy's not so bad. Like, the GT Duo, for example, is one of the best units in the game. Like, if you pop a Whis turn 1, so they're fine against this guy, they have no problem. They can sit slow 1 against him. You know what I mean? So, yeah. That's the difference here. But with that said, I would say that, like, if you, like, these Red Zone fights, right? Like, these are fights that the game developers clearly value. Like, ZAMAX got extra missions. They went back and gave Metal Cooler core missions, like the beat it with Powerful Comeback or whatever. I remember doing that mission. Or Red Zone Broly, they went and gave missions to. Like, this matters. And Fusion ZAMASU is the latest one, so he's the most important. Now, is he toxic? Yes. I don't think anyone's going to deny that the fight is toxic, but I also think that we have to just deal with it, you know? Like, there's ways of getting around. There are units who are very good against Fusion ZAMASU. I'm sure, again, I can pull up some of these units. Like, let's do it. Who's really good against Fusion ZAMASU? Like, these guys are very strong, even against Fusion ZAMASU. Future Gohan's great. Trunks is great. ZAMASU is great. The Blues are great. Goku can be alright. Bulma's great. Super Buu is actually quite good. Carnival Goku's very good here. Kid Gohan, no. Since he gets his damage reduction post-super. SR Carnival Goku, no. GT Duo, if you get them turn 2 with their revive, are great in here. The Z Duo can be pretty solid in here as well. Orange Piccolo is great in here. Beast is fantastic in here, actually. Metal Cooler can actually put in work. Tech Carnival Goku with his revive, same shenanigans as the GT Duo, can do well in here. Golden Frieza's pretty good in here. Vegeta and Trunks can do stuff as well. Goku and Piccolo, I feel like could actually do something in there. I don't know for sure, but I definitely think they could. None of these guys. I mean, we're getting to old units now, like these old Alars. Like, you could do stuff. You can kill ZAMASU fast. The gods have guard turn 1, and then by turn 3, they can definitely do stuff. Again, the golden trio that was mentioned earlier. Vegeta was very good in there as well. Like, Gohan and Piccolo with the shenanigans with the revive as well can do stuff. Like, saying there's no options or there's nothing we can do against Fusion ZAMASU is not true. Now, I will say, like another guy in my Discord pointed out, unit design hasn't been good enough. Like, Super 17 should be better. Kale should be better. Super Trunks, who we can pull up as well. Like, this guy's good enough for Fusion ZAMASU. They're not. Kale's not good enough. Ultraman Goku's great. Ma Junior is great in there. This Krillin's very good in there. Turles is okay. Turles just wasn't made good enough, but at least because he's physical units have an advantage in the current meta, since Omega is in his final phase and ZAMASU was in his first phase. So physical units are really thriving at the moment, and tech units are kind of struggling a lot more than they should. But, you know, golden tech units like this guy and Orange Piccolo are thriving anyway. So, you know, good unit design makes them good. Like, Tech Trunks is a tech unit who absolutely sucks because he's bad design as well. Yeah. Like, we can pull up more. Like, Yamcha's good in Fusion ZAMASU too. Who else can we pull up here? I mean, we're quite old now. This is 2022. Like, Kid Goku can actually do stuff again because he's physical as well. More so in Fusion ZAMASU. I'm not really talking about Omega here. Anyone else I can mention here? I mean, Limit Breaker 4s just suck. Gamma 1 is actually quite good in that fight. He takes a lot of damage against Fusion ZAMASU's first, like, 2 hits or whatever, but once you get to physical Fusion ZAMASU, you do have the nullification and stuff. Gamma 2 is not built for Fusion ZAMASU, unfortunately. I think Gamma 2 actually is a good design, but he just isn't strong enough for Fusion ZAMASU. And yeah, that's a lot of them. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of Fusion ZAMASU. I do think the community, because I go on Twitter, right? This is what spurred on this whole video. But when I go on Twitter, I see people saying, like, Fusion ZAMASU's ruined the game. And I'm like, I just kind of, like, shrug and kind of laugh, because that's not true. Like, he is a toxic fight. He is a pain to fight. But he is not the be-all and end-all of the game. Like, listen, like, these missions and stuff can come out, they're not no-item missions. Now, you can beat him without items. Like, you check my channel, I've done all my challenge runs. All of them are against Fusion ZAMASU. Like, all of them, they're there. Those videos are there, and I've no-itemed him. Like, I have beaten him. You can do it. But if you just use items, he's not that bad. So, calling him the most toxic unit in the game, or toxic fight in the game, I definitely think is true. But saying he shouldn't be considered when evaluating units is definitely untrue. Like, you have to consider him. I feel, anyways. But yeah, if units like Dokkan Fest 21 were just designed a little better, we wouldn't be having this argument. We would just be like, yep, Fusion ZAMASU is just the hardest fight. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think of Fusion ZAMASU and how difficult he is, and if you think I'm wrong. If that is true, I mean, I'm happy to discuss it. Let me know in the comments. But with that said, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.